up, guys? This is Gary with Fresh from the Farm Fungi. I'm at my mushroom farm here in Denver, Colorado, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I inoculate logs with plugs. So I ordered a bunch of shiitake from Mushroom Mountain. Shout out to Trad Cotter. There's about 100 plugs in here, and they're it looks like 5/16. And then I also made my own plugs here using the plugs that I bought to spawn these ones. They're a little bit longer, so I just wanted to compare some of the longer versus the shorter plugs with the spiral grooves. I don't know if it really makes a difference or not, but I've got a couple logs here from some freshly cut trees that I found off of Craigslist, and then a friend of mine dropped off this maple. So in Colorado it's really rare to find oak, and I'm going to be growing these on some aspen and some maple hardwood. So it's important that you use hardwood just because that's what they grow best on. Ideally you want to get some oak. Red oak works really well, but that's pretty rare, so I'm going to test out these strains on some maple and some aspen. And all the materials I got here are going to be needed during this process. So I've got my logs here, which are about 4 inches in diameter. This one's about 3 feet long. This one's about 5 feet long. You want somewhere at that range. And then I've got my plugs here. And then I've got a drill and my drill bits. We're going to be using 5/16 and a 1/4 inch on these plugs. And then I've got this map torch to heat up the wax, and then a brush to apply the wax after we plug these, and then a hammer to hammer in the plugs. And then the plugs that I got from Mushroom Mountain came with this nice insert, so it kind of goes through all the processes that I'm going to be going through, but it breaks it down, and hopefully in the springtime I'll be fruiting some shiitake on these logs. Alright guys, so the first step is going to be drilling the holes for the inoculation. These logs, you can see they're pretty fresh, so you want to use fresh logs that still has enough moisture that the mycelium can penetrate, and you want them fresh so that there's less competing fungi in the logs, and make sure that it's from healthier looking trees, which these both look pretty healthy. You don't want to take it from some diseased tree because the odds of success are less if there's competing organisms. But I got my 5/16 inch drill bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and drill a couple holes. So I'm gonna drill these about an inch deep, maybe a half an inch to an inch, just so that these plugs, which they look like they're about a ½ inch long, so I'm going to go about 3/4 down so that they're fully immersed in the log. Yep. Set that over here. Alright. And then you want to create almost a diamond pattern when you're going through the log, so that all the mycelium is equally spread apart. Alright, so you can see now that these holes are pretty drilled out. I'm just going to go ahead and inoculate this maple one before I move on to the aspen, just so I could show you guys the whole process. But I'm going to go ahead and open up this plug spawn, and just make sure that I got the right diameter, which it looks pretty snug. And then you're just going to take your hammer. I don't know if you can see right there, but it's pretty easy. You're just going to go ahead and plug the rest of these in. So it looks like that one might have been a little bit too shallow, but that's okay. You're just trying to get the mycelium. You can see right there, the mycelium is really nicely embedded in these grooves. So as long as that gets inside the log, it will start to colonize. So that one went in a lot smoother. As did that one. So you can see right there, these are going to be two great inoculation points and probably where we'll see the mushrooms come out. So I'm just going to go ahead and inoculate the rest of these. There you have it. I've got all the holes plugged up, and aside for these two that were a little bit shallow, they all seem to go in there nice and smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and drill up and inoculate this aspen now. And then I'm going to do 1/2 the 5/8 plug, and then the other half of the log I'm going to do the plugs that I made, and see if there's any difference. I have more of these logs, so it's going to be a little bit more extensive of a trial, but just for this video, I just wanted to show you the two different kinds of wood that I'm going to be inoculating and the two different kinds of plug spawn to see if there's any difference. So I'm going to go ahead and drill out those. So I just finished drilling these out, and I marked this area with the 1/4 inch and 1 inch long plugs. I'm going to go ahead and pound these in. Alright, so I definitely had a little more issues using the longer plugs. They seem to get caught as they're going in, or they could have been drilled a little deeper. So in the future, I'm definitely going to go with the 3/4 inch and then the 5/8 plugs. But I'm going to go ahead and inoculate the other side. Okay, so I got all the holes plugged up, and I'm going to do the final step, which I'm not sure if it's even necessary. I've seen people have success without waxing the top, but since we're in Colorado and it's really dry, I just want to make sure that we lock in this mycelium and give it a chance to spread. So I'm going to break off a piece of this and then put it in this little jar holder that I made and flame it until it melts, and then take this paintbrush and brush on the wax over all the holes. Alright, so you don't need too much wax, just enough to cover those up and seal in the mycelium. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue to cover all these holes with wax. Alright, so our holes are all covered with wax. It's going to take about 6 months for this to colonize, so I'm going to leave it in the garage. I got about a dozen more of these logs that I'm going to inoculate, and then once they're fully colonized, I'll stack them up like a pyramid and then soak them with the hose, and hopefully by summer we'll see some shiitake. So give it a thumbs up if you like this. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and share if you think anyone else would be interested in these videos. I hope you're enjoying our videos. I really like spreading the knowledge, and much love.